coaching, basically, I just send you a bunch of photos every day, and then like you just send me one email and tell me like to eat less, or like what's kind of go with?
I mean, that's pretty much what like most people think online coaching is. They think it's just like, oh, I'm going to send you a diet. Like the whole thing is laid out from beginning to end. You know exactly what to expect. You know when you're going to make certain decisions. But real online coaching, like good online coaching is, or good coaching in general is, you're learning about the person, you're learning about what they can handle mentally, how their body's going to respond, how they're reacting to things, and you make the most educated decision on like where to start, right? And so from that starting point, you want to go, okay, how is your body responding to this? How are you handling it? How is your digestion? You know, all these other factors. You're looking for the feedback on the plan, so then you can determine, okay, this is working, this is not, we need to make a small adjustment here. And that's what, you know, real coaching is. Like you have to be able to take the feedback that someone is giving you and create the plan to get them from where they are now to where they want to be. And so like there's no way that you could possibly like plan out an entire diet from beginning to end before anything starts, because you have no idea. You can have like the most educated guess, you know, you can have a good idea based on experience, but at the end of the day, everybody responds to all this stuff differently, you know, and it almost never is textbook. It almost never goes the way you want it to go, whether it's because their body doesn't respond the way that you think it's going to, or, you know, they just can't handle certain things mentally. So when you're coaching someone, especially just like a general weight loss, like regular lifestyle client, you know, they think that you expect them to be like a dedicated pro bodybuilder, like right off the bat, you know, but it doesn't really make sense. You know, if you're coming to a coach, more likely than not, you have probably failed like a ton of times, and getting a coach is like your last ditch effort to reach your goals, because like, you know, you're not going to pay somebody unless you really feel like you really need the help, and you really feel like you're kind of lost and you don't know where you're supposed to go. So if you're thinking about it in that sense, like you failed a lot of times, like if you're doing one thing, like let's say you're eating like 2 meals a day, right? You're not going to go from eating 2 meals a day to eating like 5 or 6 meals a day. Like let's just say like that's the most optimal thing. So if you're trying to get someone to go from 2 to 6 meals a day, it's probably not going to happen, you know. And what you have to be able to do is build people's confidence. So if you and them, you're both expecting the client to go from 2 to 6 meals a day, and then they fail, you know, the first thing that they're going to think is, okay, well, I paid this person, they know the right thing to do, and I still can't do it, so I'm failing at the right thing to do, so I'm never going to get there, right? And their confidence is already low because they basically failed a bunch of times. So you're already kind of setting it up to fail, because they're right off the bat feeling like they can't do it. But in reality, like you want to take small steps from where you are and get them to where you know that they need to be, and build their confidence up along the way. And like over time, like you kind of realize as a coach, like people really respond to positive feedback. They don't really respond to getting scolded. And I mean, nobody likes getting yelled at. And the only way that you can be a good coach is to really listen to people and kind of understand like what they're going through. And the only way that you actually can have that relationship is not scolding them. Like you have to help them work through with whatever they're going, and then give them the right answer. And the right answer is not always the most optimal thing. It's more often just, what is this small step in the right direction? Let them know that they're doing well, and then make the next best decision for them. But yeah, online coaching is not really just, well, it shouldn't be, here's your 12-week diet, and then check in with me every week and I'm not going to do anything, right? Because you have no idea how you're going to respond. You don't know when an adjustment is going to stop working, or when you need a new adjustment, or if someone's going to, you know, digest all these things well, or, you know, maybe they can't handle it mentally. So good coaching, it's understanding somebody, really listening to their problems, and knowing a ton of ways to get to where they want to go, because there's a million ways that you can do this, but it's finding the right way that works for them, and being able to present the plan and give it to them in a way to where they feel like they can do it, and you build their confidence up. Because at the end of the day, like, fitness is just, most people just want to be more confident. They want to feel better about themselves. But if you're making them feel worse about themselves and you're scolding them and you're making them feel like they're failing and you're yelling at them, you're not really building up their confidence. You're not giving them what they want.
I have another question.
Okay.
Why should someone opt for an online coach versus like getting someone in person?
That's a great question. Yeah, I mean, in person is cool. Like everybody thinks that in person is gonna be cool, but it's really because they're scared of online coaching. They're scared that like they're gonna pay someone and then that person either doesn't know what they're doing or they're gonna ghost them, because let's be real, there's a lot of people that do online coaching that are not good. But the benefit of having an online coach is they have more time for you. Like you also have to understand, what do you need from a coach, right? Do you need to have like your hand held in the gym? Do you need them to like count your reps for you and do all those things? Like if that's something that you need, then maybe you do need somebody that's in person. But if you just need the plan, you need someone that's going to be there to answer your questions all the time, that's really going to be there for you and can talk to you and can offer you more things. That's something that you can more likely only get from online coaching. Because if you're going to an in-person coach, you think about this, like if you have a question and they're with a client, they're not going to answer you if they're a good in-person trainer, because they're devoting all their attention to that one client, or those few clients in that time slot, just like you would expect them to do that for you. But as an online coach, you are there for them all the time. You want to be able to answer questions all the time. You're just trying to give more value all the time. So it's weirder because you're not there in person. You may never see your coach face to face. Like I didn't see my first coach, or I didn't see one of my coaches until like the end of my prep. Some of my clients I've never met. Well, a lot of them I've never met. But at the end of the day, like there's a lot more that I can offer them. Like there's some clients that I've had for years, and I've talked to them almost every day for 2 years. Just having that open availability to reach out to somebody or to have a community, like it's different. But it all depends on what you need from a coach. Like what I ask everybody when they're interested in signing up is, what do you need to be successful? Because at the end of the day, you know yourself more than anybody else, or you should know yourself more than anybody else. So like I respond better to this. Like I need someone to tell me, whatever. I need someone to be honest with me. I need accountability. Like maybe you need someone all there all the time, maybe you don't, but you need to know what you need from an online coach, and you need to decide, do they offer what I need? Do they have what I need to be successful? Because you can find plenty of online coaches that are amazing at what they do. Everybody, not everybody, but there's a lot of people that know how to make a diet, but not everybody can handle the way that they coach. There's some people that are literally going to give you the diet and then that's it. And that doesn't mean they're bad, but it might not be the right thing for you. So kind of just, you got to know yourself and you got to know what you need. And that's a question that you have to ask yourself. You can't just go to like someone that you think is really good or that just looks really good and then just say, well, they're going to be the one that coached me because like I like them. But if they don't offer what you need as a person to be successful, then it's probably not going to work out anyways. And then, you didn't get what you need. Maybe you didn't succeed. Maybe you failed again, and then you're out some amount of money. So, start with yourself. Like, start asking yourself those questions. Like, decide like, what do I need? What do I want? Like, what's my goal? And what are the things that have helped me along in my life? Like, you've had coaches and teachers and mentors and stuff. Like, they've all helped you in some way, and you know that what you respond to. So if you don't respond to tough love, you don't want someone that's going to be a hard ass that's like, just do it. Like most people don't respond well to that. If you want someone that's going to be there and talk to you all the time, like you better make sure that your coach is actually available for that communication, because there's some that aren't. There's some that have their cutoff links. So just knowing what you need, but more often than not, people just want someone that's there for them, someone that'll talk to them and listen to them, and you're more likely to get that, all day long, or whatever, more often during the day from an online coach that truly cares and has their program set up like that than you are from someone that's doing in-person training that can only pay attention to a certain amount of people every, during their certain time slots.
How do you know which online coach things. There's so many of them out there.
Yeah, it's hard. You got to find your research. You got to like talk to people. Like you can't just say like, oh, this person pumps out results. So there's people that pump out results, but everybody has their kind of niche and has their own style of coaching. So like, again, it's like, what do you really respond well to? Like the people that I work with, they're new. They've never achieved the goal before. They're not trying to be Mr. Olympia. They're not trying to be pros. Well, like 90% of them are not trying to be pros. And so what I try to offer is just someone that will be there and listen to their problems. And like more often than not, like people don't have people in their lives that are willing to listen to that, or they don't know how to have that conversation even. So I try to like, I gauge it based on who it is, but I try to kind of dive in there with them and just be like, how are you feeling? Like, what do you really want? Like, why is this important to you? And once you start to ask yourself those questions, you can kind of really figure out like, what is your motivation? Like, what's going to get me through this? And I can understand like, what do you need? Like, what buttons can I push? Like, sometimes you don't really realize the reason that you want these things until you sit down and talk to somebody about it. And you don't know why you're having trouble doing certain things until you say it out loud, or you can't figure out the answer until you work through it with somebody. Yeah, when you're picking your own online coach, it's just, you want to look at like references, like do they get results? Do they get the results that you're looking for? Do they know what they're talking about? Like obviously, if anyone says something with enough confidence, they can sound like they're right, but does it make sense? And are they willing to explain things to you? Like if someone's not willing to explain to you the reason that they're doing something, that's usually a big red flag, because it means they probably don't know the reason, or it usually means they don't know the reason. You're looking for that, and then you're looking for the style of coaching. Like, is it just here's your diet and then send me a check-in next week, or is it like, hey, you can talk to me whenever you need to? You may not need a lot. Like I'm the type of person, like my coach sends me a diet and I just do it. We still talk, but I don't need him to talk to me, and I know he's got a lot of other stuff going on. But the people that I work with, like they want to talk, they got stuff to say. I got to help them work through other stuff. So it's finding someone that has the style of coaching that you really need.
Why do some people pop out of coaching with one type of coach, and then they suddenly switch to another one, and they're like basic coaching?
Coach hopping can happen for a lot of reasons. If you're competitive, it's probably because you're convinced that somebody else has the answer, when in reality, like, it can take a long time to learn someone's body. Like, you can only learn as much about someone as they're willing to tell you. And if they're not telling you everything, or they're not open and honest with you, then that kind of skews all the information. So as a coach, it's like, if you're not telling someone everything, you're doing things that are off plan, and you're not honest about it, like, how can the coach give you the most educated decision moving forward, because they're going off of bad information? And other times it's like, yeah, honestly, they're just bad. They're not there for people. They don't respond. Like, there's plenty of people that suck out there, but there's a lot of people that are really good at what they do. They're good at online coaching, and they care. And probably a very common one is setting unrealistic expectations for yourself. And so that's something that I've had to learn to shut down, like right in the beginning, is just establishing what to expect from a program, and letting people know, like, this is where you are, this is the pace that we're going to try to go, but this is what has to happen. And sometimes people just get impatient, and they're just like, this isn't working, and they want people to do something that coach is not willing to do. So like, if you're trying to make sustainable change, you're not trying to run people into the ground. You're not trying to kill someone for 16 weeks so they can get the coolest side-by-side transformation. But sometimes that's what somebody wants, and if you're not that type of coach, like, you got to let people know that from the beginning. Like, you have to say, like, this is the way that it's gonna go. Like, this is what I'm trying to teach you. So like, in my program, my whole goal is, I'm trying to teach you, how do you make this a lifestyle change? And people say that all the time. They're like, oh, I'm gonna make this a lifestyle, but like, what does that really mean? you know, and it really means, how do I make this diet and this style of eating, or like this entire lifestyle, how do I make it part of my everyday life? Because what most people do is they think about the diet in terms of like a set amount of time in their life. So they'll be like, okay, this is just 12 weeks or 16 weeks of my life. I'm gonna go all in on it, and after it's over, I'm gonna go back to my normal life. But when you're just super zoned in, all in on something for 16 weeks, it tells you nothing about how you're gonna make it part of your life. So instead, you have to think like, you have to have that relationship and that open conversation where you're like, you have to make that cost-benefit analysis. Like, okay, you want to go out and have a meal. Like, is this that important to you? Is this something that's very special? Like, is this a good enough reason to get off your diet? Or is this just you getting convinced by your friends that it's a good time to go eat and go drink tonight? But you have to have like that, you have to figure out that balance and like what is important to you, and like what are the boundaries that you need to have within your diet and your lifestyle, because you can't be all in on your goals or be all in on your lifestyle. You know, like they have to come together and they have to mesh. But if you don't learn how to do that within the program, and you're just like, you're 16 weeks zoned in, I'm gonna get like as shredded as possible, then it doesn't really translate for the rest of your life.